when you don't block a specific time, regardless of what routine and the work you have, you could easily just be being in reactive mode all day. Thank you all for joining today on the second episode of Creativity is in Business. You all gave me the courage to want to continue to do this, as well as using it as a way to empower all of you. So thank you for those who have shared encouragement, positivity, and some of your feedbacks. So let me dive right into it. Today I want to talk a little about the topic on remote working, which I believe now most of us are doing more because of the change in the virus and the development. And I also understand this is a sensitive question for some of us because it's not necessarily possible for us to work remotely. Hi, Kaylin. Great to have you. So please go ahead, say hello, add your questions to the comment thread so that we can make a note. Some of us are veterans, some of us are new, some of us have only done once in a while, but not for many weeks and with the whole company. And so today I'm going to focus on some communication tools. How can we be more mindful, thoughtful in the process? And how can we reduce some of the stress that we perhaps have in how we approach it? And so, hey, Satya, Yao, great to see you. And feel free to add your questions. So let me dive right in at least what I think some of the struggles that I went through when I first had to learn how to remote work. Well, if any of you feel like you're going through this right now, you're probably not alone. I would say we are at this point, Thursday, 1 p.m., saturated with enough information. I saw this interesting infographic where we are hearing way over more information about the virus than any other disease in the recent years. And regardless of what your opinion is, it's clearly impacting the way we collaborate and work together. So might as well, what the key importance is, how can we improve and do something different about it? So let's acknowledge some of the pain points, right? Shall we? When we start working from home, regardless of the type of business or the industry you're in, and I understand it's a sensitive matter again for some of the industries, but I promise there's still aspects that can help you. So first, right, to be realistic, right, the problem is that there's information nonstop. If you're like me, you're probably getting notifications nonstop, and that's a bit overwhelming. It makes it hard then sometimes to understand priorities. Like, okay, now I have like so much going on, like where do I start? Where do I end? And things could take a lot longer time than we think. And so we start wondering, well, gosh, like I thought this was going to take 30 minutes and now I've been sitting on it for 3 hours, right? Anyone else felt like that, right? And food, oh my gosh, please remember to eat. How often when we start remote working for the first time, we realize that, wait, the day passed and it's 6 p.m. and I still haven't eaten anything. No wonder I'm exhausted. So there's a bit of an art. And that's the part I would like to share some resources and suggestions, whether you're a veteran or a newer person to it, so that you can do this with a more smiling face. How? Well, a couple of things, and that's what we are going to discuss. Is the trick is really rethinking about some of these things that you have to do anyway, which is right, time management, project management, how to be productive in the midst of all these notifications, these rush of informations, these fast-paced changes. Everyone's in high alert and very sensitive to everything. How do you make time to do deep work and stay focused? That's really critical. And then thinking about how you then collaborate, what does that mean? And how can you do that in a thoughtful way? Lastly, when do you make the set time to actually go offline, right? To set the tone and say, now guys, I need to tune out. And we're not going to have this email thread. Have a routine, start setting a routine. So if you're an early bird, wake up early in the morning and be consistent. I'll do my exercise and then, I'll get breakfast. I'll take a quick glance at what my core task is, and then I'll jump into some of the first round of meetings and then block my time for lunch and then go for my next rounds. And then after a certain point, I always know I block off for dinner, And then I block off a chunk of time where I might do some more deep work without being interrupted and turn my phone off and all my own notifications. And so I share this because the key thing is, while that is one example, if you are a night owl and you like to learn more and you're more productive at night, then you might want to think of a different routine. But the key is there's probably some hours that overlap within you and your colleagues. And that's the critical piece of it, where you have to be intentional about what's the overlapping time that your team is all communicating, so that way you can get work done. Because now you can't see who's working when, and setting that time of saying as a team, guys, can everyone be online from, let's say, 1 to 3 p.m.? So if there's any core decision making you have to do together, you have now made that route of communication easier. I also have a book recommendation for those who like to read in addition to my book. For those who want to take the time to note about, this is going to be even more crucial in how we communicate more mindfully and thoughtfully. And be more gracious, that in every communication, everyone give a benefit of a doubt and let them know that, you have their back and support in that way. And I had some people actually asking questions. Well, Monica, I need to run meetings now more regularly, and I don't know how to do this now remotely. We're going to have a separate episode on that, but I'm planning on actually doing some sessions on that too if you're interested, so let me know. But for now, I have some questions that I collected from some of you, and thank you all for submitting. Again, you can submit questions in advance, and so I'm going to pick a random question if anyone has a reference. Okay, so I am going to start with this. Okay, the yellow question I have is, how do I build trust now that we go online? That's a great point, because now the way you usually have built trust when you meet people in person is going to be a little different. So how do you do this then differently? It's going to be important to think about a couple of things, right? You're not going to be able to shake somebody's hand and say hello to do reoccurrence, but a couple of things that come to mind is 3. 1, think about your authentic aspect of who you are and how the way you communicated or met somebody online really wrapped toward and built trust. There's probably an element there was thoughtful communication, consistency, something there was some actionable steps that was tied into it. That's probably how we will continue to build trust even online, and something that I recommend everyone to think a little bit more thoughtfully as we think about how we work and build trust among one another, even if somebody that we haven't met. Another topic that I have is, team building ideas. How can we do different team building ideas? Well, again, I'm going to tie into some of my other suggestions I shared earlier, which is being thoughtful about how you make your routine. So if you already have a weekly standing routine, can you think about, in that first 5 minutes, do a simple activity, but 1, the simplicity, and 2, making it clear what the intention is. Are we wanting to do this team building activity at this moment in this busy time because we have maybe a new team member, we want to do that? Or maybe we're jumping into a new project. Or maybe it's because we're doing remote work for the first time. Setting that intention clearly when you do intend on doing that would hugely help. And it's great to see Eric's, even Wendy, for joining in. Feel free to add your questions if you have. So that's one of the recommendations I have for team building. Whatever tool or method you approach, make it clear, make it small, and put a time constraint on that and a clear why. Okay, I know this is, I know some people have this question too, which is, how do I lead when I'm not sure what to answer? And I know many of us feel that way right now. We are waking up or literally going to bed every night with different information. So there's a lot of uncertainty. So what I suggest in that is, how can you give comfort, reassurance, and then remind folks that there is small steps we can take that is tangible to assure and face uncertainty. And that's where the courage piece comes. And so whether that's one step of guarantee where you would say, folks, hey, we know at least by tomorrow we will have this meeting and we have these goals that we want to reach, or by the end of this month. Knowing that things are changing fast, give very clear, tangible goals that everyone can reach and look forward to, no matter what happens. And so that's what's going to help us, along with you just honestly sharing where you don't really know if you could feel honest. And last but not least, what if, Monica, this is great, but, I work in an industry that, remote work doesn't make sense. I have a retail, I'm a restaurant business, I have a manufacturer business. Like, how is this going to actually help me do remote or collaborate online? First, I clearly hear you, and that's going to have to be a whole episode on how specifically on that. But the first thing I want to share is that regardless of your industry, the key is that we're going to all rely on more online communication. And for some, that means working on the computer. For others, it might be more on the phone. It might be more on text reliance or other softwares and tools. But the key is over-communicate, be thoughtful, please be kind. And if you feel that, right now you don't have an answer, I would actively strategize. Is there a way, even as a restaurant business, that we can provide or take some of the steps and minimize it, even if our customers are no longer showing to our restaurant right now? Is there a way you could still generate revenue by making the food and bringing it to them faster? Or considering your people's safety, there might be a different way. But the key aspect is whatever that uncertainty is, everyone's going to rely more on phone, and thoughtful communication is absolutely key. And so that's it for today. I know, where I'm trying out these different approaches. Please let me know. What are the things you want to see more? What are the things that, we can make this more productive? My goal and intention, again, for those who are joining for the first time, is that, I think there's so much negativity and different information out there. And I hope that if we can start at least having more problem-solving tools, positive resources and incentive, maybe we can shape the way how we can have more positivity. So as the wrap up, I'm going to share some quotes to end in a positive note, which is one from Helen Keller, says, "Alone we can do so little, and together we can do so much." The second one is, "The pessimist complains about the wind, and the optimist expects it to change, and the realist adjusts the sails." And so, in essence, our mindset plays a key role. So thank you all for your questions. I hope this is helpful. Please let me know if there's anything else I can do for you. But be safe, be happy, and we'll walk away with resilience. So thank you all for your courage. And I'll talk to you soon again.